Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Demystifying Agile Methods series. This is session 1. To learn the fundamentals. And our guest speaker today is Vinay Krishna. He is a software development manager with Secondum Software India Private Limited. Vinay Krishna is having 14 years of experience in software development and currently working as a software developer manager. He is flourished in a fast-paced environment requiring excellent problem-solving skills, multiple project completion under short deadlines, and the ability to communicate with clients and end users. He helps teams to adopt Agile, Scrum, Lean in his organization. He is doing research in the field of software architecture. So far, his 12 papers have been published in various international journals and conference proceedings. His 2 papers are translated in Chinese language and Scrum Network at China. He is also managing Agile Bangalore User Group. He is a management committee member of Computer Society of India, Bangalore chapter since 2012 and elected as Secretary of CSI BC for 2014 to 2016. He has been part of organizing team of several international conferences. He is volunteer speaker at CSI and gives Tech Talk guest lectures in Agile, XP, Scrum, Lean, OOAD, and software architecture at prestigious engineering colleges, universities, and different organizations. So, without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Vinay.
Thanks for the nice introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, as already we got that session topic, that is demystifying Agile method. This is the first session, and we will focus on just to learn the fundamentals. Okay, I know we know about the Agile, we heard about the Agile, but let's focus on the fundamentals of Agile methods. Okay. So I believe all of you have already seen at some point of your IT experience this picture. What I want to do here is, if you can correlate with your day-to-day activities with this diagram and the picture, which is what the different phases it tried to depict here. And if you will see very closely, we will find that from one phase to another phase, there is something which is very common. And that is common in all the phases. And for your information, I am not talking about tree, I am not talking about string, I am not talking about grass, I am not talking about cloud. I am talking about the gap between the from one phase to another phase. So if you look at, some gap is always there from one phase to another phase. Maybe it's a drastic, maybe a little bit, but the gaps are always there, which tells that always when we are going to provide some information from one side to another side, there would be something which could be missed out. Now, another interesting thing which we can look at this diagram and get it is, if you look at the first particular phase and to the last one, which is we are able to see. So we can see that there is a diagram, and when what we have that the first diagram says that what the customer has explained us as a requirement. Then the last one is what the customer actually required. So in both the case, there is a gap between these two. Even the customer doesn't know what he wants, right? So that is what typically we see in the IT industry, and we try to build that application. And if you look at the various other pages, like how we understood, how the analyst has designed, how the programmer has written, all those things are having the different perspective. Coming to the next slide, where we are just trying to look at what are the common problems that we face during and after software development. So if you look at, we are following two type of methods. One is plan driven, which we also name it as traditional, where we mostly follow processes which is defined by the organization. That means each organization is having some different set of process which is being followed in that organization. Sometimes we tailor that process as per the organization standard or the work order, or the customer may require something else. So that is what the plan driven or the traditional. And there is another one which is very, very common, which is undefined. So what we do here is we try to follow some minimal set of processes. So though we have a long list of processes, we feel that okay, in these scenarios probably we cannot follow all. So we are defining some minimal set of processes, but even that doesn't work. So practically it never works, and we falls into a situation where mostly we work like code and fix. And believe me, in my entire experience, I have felt that it's very, very common, and you can also start correlating with your day-to-day work. You will find that yes, after a certain point of time, yeah, it starts with the plan driven, and finally it landed up into undefined. There is nothing defined. We are doing something, and we are just, our primary objective is okay, let's make it working. That's it. So why it happens? It happens, it's not because we want in that way. It happens because of lots of different issues or different things are there which is making it in this situation. One is frequent changes from client side. Yes, of course, because till the end, even though you have done the UAT or you are done your development or whatever, at all the pages you will find that changes are keep coming from the customer side. And if you will correlate with the previous slide, you will find that why it's happening, because client or customer himself does not know what he wants. So when he started seeing that entire app or that particular IT solution, he started feeling okay, he needs in some different way. So the frequent changes from client side is one of the reason which makes plan driven to undefined. Dependency on resources. So lots of time we are finding that a resource is there who is having excellent domain knowledge or product knowledge, or he is excellent in that technology, and lots of dependency is there with that resource. So if he is not available, then again who will do that, and all those things are there. Yeah, at certain extent we can able to minimize that, but again that is one of the reason when we started working on this undefined way. Documentation takes lots of time. What is happening if same team is there, that's fine, but if the team is getting changed, we are finding that they are not able to understand that product or that code or the design. Why? Because the document, whatever it says, is totally different what is there in the implementation side, that is at the code level. And why it's happening? Because documentation requires lots of time, and normally we do not have that much time. And another thing is you cannot document all the things. That is another issue. So that is one of the common problems. Then another one is impact analysis is very, very complex in case of you have a big application or the big product. So that time again we need to, whenever there is any change coming, we need to first of all look at all the things which is getting impacted due to that small change. Otherwise, again, what is happening in the less time when we are having to implement that or to fix that defect, we are not able to analyze that quickly, and finally we are landing up on the situation where it's affecting lots of other areas. There could be much more other items in this list which you can just start thinking on, but these are some of the common things which I felt and I have listed down here. So this was the common problem. Why I am talking about all this is these common problems has not started recently. It has started when the IT has started. So both started at the same time, and it's not like it's specific to a geography, it's specific to a region, it's specific to a particular type of people, but it's across the globe, across the country, everywhere it is. And the IT field, you will find that this is a common problem available. So what is Agile method? I will go to the next slide where I will just explain with the ripple effect or with all these common problems, what happened and why people started thinking about Agile and other things. But before that, I will just give you a brief idea. What is Agile method? So the first thing which comes in our mind is it's a departure from plan-driven to plan-driven traditional approach. So it's a departure from that approach. What it does, it provides early release of working software. And from engineering practices, if you will look at one name came into our mind is pair programming. One more practice is test-driven development. Yes, of course, less documentation. On-site customer involvement, which is very, very important. Code refactoring, that is improving your working code. Quick response to change. Self-organized and cross-functional team. Iterative incremental development, and much more. So we will look at some of the aspects of whatever we have listed down here. But before that, I would just like to go to the next slide and discuss what initiated these Agile methods. So as we have discussed earlier, that common problems, and also we have discussed that it had not started recently, it was from the beginning. And what happened, it was across the globe also. So there were 17 independent-minded practitioners who were working on the several programming methodologies, get together in one resort, and they started discussing upon what could be the possibility, how they can overcome with this problem, and so on. And this story is the year of 2001, that is almost 12-13 years back. And one good thing is they did not agree about much. So it doesn't mean that everybody was agreeing upon all the points, but they found consensus on 4 main values. So, and that they have listed down. So if you look at what they are saying, they say that the processes and tools are important, comprehensive documentation is important, contract negotiation is important, following a plan is also important. So all these 4 were the things which were always in the focus earlier. What they have added here, they told that they also find more values on individuals and interactions comparing to processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change over following a plan. And if you look at these 4 values which has been listed down here, on the bottom there is another highlighted line is written here. So what they told, that is, while there is value in the items on the right, So they agreed upon that there is a value in the items which are on the right, that is processes and tools, comprehensive documentation, contract negotiation, following a plan. We value the items on the left more. But they never told that they don't value on the right hand side. I will tell you it's very important to understand this particular line, because lots of myths immediately started once this Agile Manifesto, all these 4 items which when the values has been written down, it has been named as Agile Manifesto, and you can still find that in online agilemanifesto.org, and you can become a signatory as well if you also agree upon this point. So lots of myths started coming. One myth was like, okay, if you are working on Agile, that means you should not have any documentation, right? So I will just discuss about all those things in detail. And this Agile Manifesto was supported by 12 principles. So let's have a look on those 12 principles as well. So what it says our highest priority is to satisfy the customer. The first principle says they always find the more highest priority on satisfying the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Then the next principle says welcome changing requirements even late in development. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. So what they say is that let's embrace the change. So if you have change coming at the late also, you should welcome that. You have to manage that change in some other way. Whether you agree upon that change or you will resist, you have to adopt that, because you have to make your customer happy. So whether you want or not, you have to. So let's welcome that change. Okay. And there are different ways how we can manage that change even late in development, but that's one of the principles which is listed down. Then the next was deliver working software frequently from a couple of weeks to a couple of months with a preference to the shorter time scale. And that is very important because if you look at the traditional or plan driven, always you can get the end product after you are at the end of your deadline. That time only you can, or the customer can see that end product. But what Agile says, don't wait for that much time. If you have a 3-year contract or 3-year product development or project development deadline, don't wait for 3 years. So what we can do, we can start building 1 or 2 features, whatever is possible, in a couple of weeks and deliver it to the customer. Let's show it to them. If anything is required to be changed, let's do that. So that is one thing which can help us to get the to reduce the surprises at the last moment. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the process. So that is one thing where if you are normally the developer will get the clarification on the requirement through the business people only. So they should work together. Otherwise, it will be always a difficult situation where the developer will assume something else, whether the business people are trying to communicate something different. So if you look at the first slide which we have seen in that diagram, even somebody has explained, the customer has explained his change or requirement, which has been understood something in a different way. So if they will work together, the more collaboration will be there. It is very, very helpful for them to understand the problem in a better way. Build projects around motivated individuals. That is very, very important, because you cannot have a successful project without motivated individuals. And there are various practices which will help to get at that level, but that is one of the principles which needs to be followed. So give them the environment and support they need and trust them to go get the job done. And the trust is a really important thing. Next principle is the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation. And we all agree upon, if you are talking to somebody over the phone or through mail, that communication is not that much effective if you are talking to that same person face to face. So there is lots of difference. And I will tell you, because of this principle, initially there was a myth that you cannot, or rather you can use Agile when you have co-located team. So even if you have distributed team, and distributed means it can be on the same building, on the different floor, or maybe in the same city, the different buildings where the different teams are there, or maybe the different cities, different geographic location. But I will discuss on this particular myth later also. So that is one of the principle. So idea here is they want to tell that if we can avoid other communication, rather than we can just focus on face to face, which is going to eliminate lots of misinterpretation. Then the next is working software is the primary measure of progress, and that is very, very important. We should not focus on how much we have completed, because of that MPP says that these many days has been passed, 60% or 30% work has been done. Rather than we just focus on the working software, which are the features available, which is actually working. So that is the primary measure of progress. Agile processes promote sustainable development. So always it will go on a flow, and that flow should be having a should be defined at all the level, like sponsors, developers, users, and they should be able to maintain that as well. The next is continuous attention should be given to technical excellence, and good design enhances the agility. So always focus on how to arrive at a technical excellence at the team level, so that we can have the good design. And once we will have these two things, we will have more and more agility in our product or the project. The next principle is really very important, and I like this very much. The simplicity is essential, and what it means is, it says that simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done. So whatever work is not done, that is your pending things, we should highlight that rather than how much we have completed. And why it is called as simple or simplicity, I will give you one example. Say for an example, you have to drive a car and you have to go to a destination A to B. Now the distance between A to B is 150 kilometers. Now if somebody will ask how much time you will need, it depends upon lots of things, which vehicle you are going to take, what is the road condition, what is the traffic situation, and there could be lots of other external factors. But anyway, if you have gone through that particular route so many times, at least you will tell that yes, I will require, say for an example, it is required 2 hours. Now when you are driving your car in the road, in the highway, after traveling half an hour, and you want to see what you would like to see, or normally if you will be in the highway, you will see the milestone. What the milestone says? The milestone always tells you that okay, the 50 kilometer is what? 50 kilometers is still remaining to reach the destination B. And why it's important? You will never bother to know how much you have completed. You will always bother to know how much is still there. And based upon that, if it is still the time is a lot, you will maybe you will go in a constant space, or you will try to speed up or whatever. But you will always try to know how much is pending. And that is what this principle says. We should always try to highlight how much work is not done, how much is still pending, rather than highlighting how much we have completed. So that's a major change when if you look at that plan-driven approach, where we will always try to see that okay, 60% we have completed or 40% we have completed. The next is the best architectures, requirements, and design emerge from self-organizing teams. So the self-organized teams means the team who can manage their work on their or organize their work on their own, not by somebody from the outside. And if that's that type of team is there, we can have the best architecture, we can understand the requirement, we can have the design, and so on. The last one is, it says at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. Because as I told you that it's a self-organized team, they should understand where they are lacking, what the things they have done in the wrong way, how they can improve their things. So at regular interval, they should do that. And with these 4 values and 12 principles, lots of methods has emerged after that, and we got almost uh, 4 or 5 different type of agile methods. Most popular are XP, extreme programming, and Scrum. There are others also, like we had Crystal, we had FDD, we had DSTM. So, but more popular are these two, XP and Scrum. And Scrum is focused on more management related practices, while XP is more focused on engineering practices. So many teams adopt both of these two and combine together, and they are trying to attain that success. Okay. Coming to the next slide, let's focus on some of the limitations. So as I told you, this agile method has that manifesto and the principles came into the picture in 2001, and once it came into the existence, people started asking lots of questions based upon whatever the observation they had in the principles and the manifesto. So one observation was there is a limited support for distributed environments, and initially they were telling that it is not possible because as per the agile principle, face-to-face communication is essential. So immediately at that moment, no one has used, no one has practiced, or some limited experience was there. So answer was like, okay, we have never tried. But people started trying that, and there are lots of ways to cope up with this limited support for distributed environment. So development environment in which team members, customers are physically distributed, face-to-face communication is not possible, that is for sure. But we can use lots of technologies like video conferencing is possible, Webex session is possible, sharing the desktop is possible, webcam we can use, and there are some other ways as well. Telecon also we can use at certain extent with the telecon and the Webex, like how we are doing at this moment. And that way we can have certain limited aspect comparing to the face-to-face, and we can achieve that success. And there are lots of people, lots of organizations has worked a lot on this. Right now, if you will try to search on the distributed agile or something, you will get lots of suggestions and the experiences which people has used. One URL I would like to share here is from Martin Fowler's blog. Martin Fowler was one of the 17th engineer who has co-authored that Agile Manifesto and Principles. So you can have a look on that also, agileoffshore.html. He has written a nice blog there, nice article, and you can get lots of ideas how to cope up with that. Maybe in the coming session we will discuss on that in detail. Then there was another like limited support for building reusable artifacts. So they were telling that since you are not going to focus on all the aspect of the application only for a couple of weeks, you are just going to take that requirement and you are start building that application, might be you will that agile team cannot reproduce a reusable artifacts. So first of all, that building reusable artifact is very controversial topic. You can't say that we have built reusable because you feel that. But yes, of course, if in your entire product development, if you are going to use that, that is very good. So there are lots of practices because in Agile, they are focusing a lot on the refactoring techniques, and there are tons of refactoring techniques available, which is used to improve your existing code. So you can remove your redundancies, you can remove that that stiffness in your code. And finally, you will be able to get the reusable artifacts. And there are lots of organizations which are using that product-based company, and almost all product-based companies they are using, like right now, these agile and engineering practices. So there is no issue with this nowadays. So initially it was called as limitations, and now it is nothing but a myth. Coming to the next slide, again some two more limitations are there. So another limitation which people started talking about, so you cannot use it on the safety critical software. One example I have actually heard from lots of people. One in case of enterprise architecture summit was there. There also I have heard, and somebody from the Agile conference also one person has given the similar example, where they were telling that if NASA or ISRO kind of organization is going to use Agile method, then how they will launch the satellite. So it will be on the cycle, on the iteration. So first iteration it will go at certain height, the satellite, and then after second iteration from that height to the next height, and finally it will launch to the orbit. And we also know that this is theoretically it looks good, or it looks more funny, but practically it's not possible at all. Okay, so in that context, I will just give you one example. This agile world has been taken from one of the NASA project in 1962, and there they have tried to build some software system applications on the iterative mode, on the iterative incremental mode, and they have used this word agile, and it has been taken from there. And right now also, if you look at NASA, if you will look at any other like Cathay Pacific Airlines, or there are lots of that we are feeling that if they are reproducing safety critical software, actually they are using this agile method there as well. There are many ways which we could use to make it as more secure, more tested application. We can use the TDD, we can use pair programming, we can have that refactoring, we can have that CI continuous integration, and lots of other aspects, which makes this safety critical software development possible through agile method as well. Last one was limited support for development involving large teams. So again, it's just a myth, because nowadays, as I told you, that most of the product companies they are using these agile methods, and even I have seen that people having 100 of in the team, and they are able to use that. There are lots of different way, and now that scaling of these agile methods are actually possible. There are some tweaks, some customization, some tailoring you have to do, but again you have to stick with the principles and the values, core values, and that means you are using that agile methods. So again, these two limitations later turned up as myths only. So what the benefit we are going to get? So there are some benefits which I have listed down here. One is from the customer perspective or the stakeholders perspective, early return on investment. So they will be able to see that whatever they are investing, they are able to get it every iteration. And that is very important. Rapid learning, that even the team, even the customer, even the business people, they are able to learn that whatever the things they are finding is having a gap, and they will be able to fill that gap. And once they are able to see their ROI, the stakeholders, including the customer, will be much happier, right? So we will have the satisfied stakeholders. Increased control. Sorry. Yeah, so increased control. Agile methods enable better control of work. Then the responsiveness to change. Agile method increase return on investment, accelerate learning, and satisfaction, stakeholder satisfaction. And at any moment when they will ask any change, the team will be able to provide respond to that particular change. So that is one of the benefits what we can get in the Agile. So now we can you can start at your end. You can just start noting down what you follow so far, and in what condition you cannot apply it. So whether if you are going for the iterative mode, can you your entire development cycle, can you just make it as shortened, like couple of weeks, and so on. Or suppose if you are doing undefined way also, you can just identify what you follow normally, what is defined in your organization, and in what condition you are not doing that, right? That is one thing you should do. So that was one thing that you can start noting down if you are new to Agile adoption. So some of the best practices of Agile processes are, one is continuous integration and test-driven development. Both of these ensures that bugs and errors are found quickly and early, and that means it's cheaper to fix. Because as we know, based upon the Boyens curve, it says that the later the stage of development cycle we are identifying defects, it's much costlier to fix them. So with these two, we are able to find the defects early in the game. Then on-site customer and functional testing ensure the analysis and specification of the system is up to date. So even when we are getting the requirement, we are trying to find out what is the acceptance criteria, and that ensures that yes, whatever we are going to get is up to date and it's as per the business requirement. Pair programming, where two developers work together, is also helping to find bugs and leading to a good design, the simple design. Because lots of time we may introduce the complexity in the code which is unknowingly. So with this practice, it helps to reduce that situation. Refactoring and once and only once increases design consistency. So what Agile says, even though your code is working, it's giving you that desired result, you should not stop there. You should try to refactor your code. So that what does it mean by refactor? It says that you should be able to improve your code, and not only code but it's working code. So you should not try to improve the code which is not working. So if the code is working, it's doing its desired algo on that code, then you can go for the refactoring and improving that code quality. And that way you can get a well-designed and more flexible system. Regular releases gives the customer feedback and forces the team to make the release to production, and maintenance phases as cheap as possible, because it's not like at the end of the 3 year we are going to provide a release. It's a regular release, and that way we are going to get the customer feedback, and that makes the entire process more effective. So these are some of the best practices which we can get in the Agile process. So coming to this question, so if all these values are there, principles are there, different Agile methods are there, will the Agile method solve all my problems? So from my side, the answer to this question is I cannot say, or I'm not sure.
Yes. Thanks, Vinay, for this insightful presentation. Let's quickly take up the questions now. You would be able to see the questions. Just give me 1 minute. I'm just trying to figure out a little technical problem. Are you able to see them now?
1 minute, I'm just checking that. Yeah, I'm able to see that. But before that, I will just run through so that they can read that also. Okay. So the question is from Chainav Shah, and that is on, can agile methodologies be practiced for small projects? In that case, how effective it would be? Yes, there is nothing constant that, yeah, for an example, I have used a project or product delivery cycle of 3 years. But of course, for a smaller project also we can use it, and believe me, it's very effective there as well. Because even though it is for the 6 months or 3 months, and early of the game, we will be able to get the feedback from the customer or the business perspective, and we can fine tune that. And then another question is from Satish Jadhav. What is the main difference between waterfall method and agile method of project implementation? Yes, the major difference between the waterfall and agile is waterfall you will have a phase, defined phase, and after that you will go to the next phase. That means you will have a requirement analysis, requirement gathering phase, then analysis and design phase, then the coding, then the testing, and then implementation. Promote to production and maintenance. But in case of agile, it will go hand on hand. So in one iteration, it will include your analysis, designing, requirement, fine tuning or understanding, and implementation, that is coding or construction, whatever you can say, testing. All are together in one iteration. So that is a basic difference. And at the end, it will each of the iteration, it will deliver you a working of software. So if you look at from the output side, in the waterfall, each phase will deliver only some documents. Only in case of construction phase, it will deliver a document plus the application or the product. The next question is from Alex Pandian. How the customer comes to know about the daily development, customer will talk with whom? Okay, so customer or no one will be trying to get about the daily development. The team will have, normally they will have in the agile mode, they will have the daily stand-up where they will try to see, they will try to discuss on 3 items, what they have completed yesterday, what they are going to do today, and if there is any impediment, which they will be also updating into some system, maybe some board, display board, or maybe some tools, whatever they are using. And every iteration, at the end of every iteration, customer will be able to see what they have completed. And how customer will talk, they will normally talk to the product owner. Is agile methodology is good for product development also? Is by Puneet Ranjan. Yes, of course, agile methodology is very suitable for product development. You will name right now any company or any product development company, you will find that they are using agile. There is nothing constant from whether it's a product. There are lots of questions whether we can use it on the service based organization or develop that implementation, but yes, that is also possible. Question is from Siva, what is basic difference between Agile and Scrum? So Agile and Scrum, Agile, as I told you, it's based upon those 4 values and 12 principles. Now after those 4 values and 12 principles has been exposed to outside world, Agile Manifesto and principles, lots of methods, Agile methods came using those values and principles. One of the Agile method is Scrum. So this is like you can say that one is the superset and the subset, like Scrum is there. Not you can say the subset also, but you can say that different type of Agile methods. As I told in one of the initial discussion that there are several Agile methods available based upon those values and principles like Scrum, XP, Crystal, so on. Could you list out some common mistakes often made in Agile adoption? Asked by Sundar. Yes, of course, there are people are taking it on a different way. So normally we feel that okay, once we are using Agile, then there is no documentation. We will not use any documentation. That's blunder, you can say. Then another thing is they are feeling that there should not be any architecture design from the beginning. That is also not the case. Then sometimes people feel that we should use it because that requirements are not clear. So that's why we should use that Agile. We also use sometimes when we are saying that we should use Agile because our customer asks for that, but we do not understand what it is. Let's go for that. So there are lots of things which is people use to adopt, and actually they should adopt the Agile method for the right purpose. That is what I mean to say here is. Okay, one more question is from Rahul. We do POC to find the best solution. Does Agile accommodate space for POC development? POC, yes, why not? That what you are saying is related to proof of concept or maybe some type of feasibility study. Yes, you can run in some iterations those POC as well. That is possible. Banti Parikh, the question is, can we customize Agile or to follow strictly the Agile principles? I will tell you, it depends on how matured we are. So, if first we should try to stick with the Agile principles, and then we should see if anything is required to be customized, because lots of time we misuse the Agile word by saying that yes, we are using it, but we are customized that. So that time it's very, very dangerous. If you want to get more understanding on that, you can try to find out something related to Scrum, and there is one more concept called as Scrum and. One of my articles is there. If you want, you can just Google it. Scrum plus, is it Scrum but or Scrum and? I also got one question from Santosh. Can Agile implement for single person project? You can try for that, but not very much sure. With single person, you are talking about the dev is also same or the QA is also same, because if both are different, then definitely it's not the same case. Can we follow Agile methodology in developing mobile applications like in Android? Is the question from Srilata. Yes, of course, we can. From Rahul, does Agile method suggest building the internal system modules or first the external system? Again, it's all depends upon, but the CI is always there. That is continuous integration, whether you are building internal or external. It should go on parallel, or you can just work on both together, so that there should be integrating from the beginning. Seetal has asked, give practical examples how to manage change in requirements, because it will affect DB structure, code changes, etc. Yes, of course, when we are talking about the changes, anyway, suppose the changes, you are not using Agile and the changes are keep coming. So how you will handle in that case? Will it not affect the DB structure or the code? Of course, right? But when you have built the entire application, you have created all the DB and everything is there in place, and then you have to change. It's really difficult. But if you recently you have created one table, and then you get a feedback that you have to add one column or something is you have to add there, maybe some store procedure or related DB object you have to change, it will be much easier than changing at the end. So maybe you have also forgot for what purpose, why those columns were there, or those stored procedures where you have written all those logic. So in that case, it will be much effective if you are using Agile. Satish has asked, hi Vinod, do you think that Agile method can be used for ERP implementation? Example given SAP, yes, of course. And even I will tell you, SAP is using a lot Agile methods. Please tell good Agile project management tool, open source free tools from Seattle. Agile project management tool, you can use anyone. I don't want to name any specific tool, but yes, Rally is one which you can go for that there. And target process is there, that also you can use. From Sunil, what is Agile testing and Agile testing only for Agile development? So Agile testing, I don't think it's a specific, there is two different word, Agile testing and Agile development. You can ask like a testing and development within Agile development team. So yes, in case of Agile approach, what you have to do, you have to do both together. So in one iteration, that development and testing will go together. Whenever they will complete one requirement, the testing will start doing the testing. It will be go hands on hand. What are the disadvantages of Agile methods? Yes, the disadvantage is it's hard to adopt because you need to change your mindset. That is one thing. That's another thing is initially you will find that it has surfaced all the issues or problems in your software development method in your organization. Everything will get surfaced. So you will find that okay, maybe that because of Agile we have got lots of troubles or issues, but believe me, it was already there, but it was not getting surfaced. It was getting surfaced at a very late. So that those are the disadvantages if you will ask me. Okay, what Lucindra has asked, when customer has frequent changes, how requirement gather happens and how this requirement stage get stabilized. So if we are getting frequent changes from customer, there is a person called as product owner or the person who is going to get that entire requirement from the customer. He will be gathering that all the requirement, not the team, and he is responsible to prioritize that all the requirements or ordering that all the requirements at his end, and based upon that order that will be developing that application. Is Agile better than all the other testing methods? Agile methods is not a testing method, but yes, it includes lots of testing, different testing practices, and which is actually good. Can Agile methodology be applied also in other than software testing and development projects? What project would you suggest it for and why? Is a question from Rakesh. I don't. I'm not very much sure whether I got your question or not, but see, now Agile methods people are using in not only IT projects but non-IT as well. So if you can Google wiki speed, you will get to know that people are building high-speed car using Scrum. And why it is good? Because the team is more committed, they are more collaborative, and finally they are providing a good result. Okay. Who will decide whether to go agile or another method? Uh, it's good if your management is, you are getting a buy-in from your management, your customer. That is good. Decision always whether which process will be used is taken from the management and supported by the customer. Yes, you can also propose or inform them that this could be a better alternative as a developer or as a manager. Can you mention the ROI for given project with agile and iterative project delivery? Return of investment is always there better in case of agile because in a couple of week time or couple of or by a maximum by 1 month time you will be able to see something which is working. What is the process of getting PMI Agile certified? Mahesh, certification you will get all the details in the PMI site. They have some eligibility criteria which you need to fulfill. There is some training program which you need to attend, and finally you have to clear the exam. But of course, that requires lots of practical experience. How can we use agile method for iOS mobile application development? I guess yes. So in that case, yes, in any type of software development, as I mentioned, even the non-IT people are using right now. But I'm just focusing on software development. So if you have some, whether it's iOS or Android or any other mobile application development, definitely you will have some set of requirements. You will have some deadlines. You will have a team. So you need to find out who can be the part of that team, who can be the person who can play a role of product owner, how you can split that entire development cycle into the iterations, and you can go on. Because agile methods are not dependent on technology, because it's just a process which you need to follow. How will we plan for testing, as we may not be knowing the release date? By Mini Ambrose. Actually, the testing in case of Agile, you have not to wait till the end of the software development. Rather, in each of the iterations, they have to, both the teams, the development and QA testing team has to work together. So as and when they will complete one requirement, they will release it, internal release, and which has been tested, which should be tested by the QA testing team. And finally, in the iteration only, they have to plan in such a way that before the end of the iteration, they have some time where they can do a final release for that iteration and put some time for defect fix. So that is what you have to plan.
Due to time constraint, Vinay, I have to request you to take the unanswered questions offline, which I will share with you through email. So if you would like to take the last question and then sum up the session, you can do it now.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So last question is from Neha. You said there are lots of agile methods to address different kind of scenarios. Can you give one real-time example for this? Yeah, as I told you that I will just focus on two. One is Scrum. Scrum is on the management practices, so how you will manage, which we were discussing about. Both development and testing is together. Like how to manage the requirement which is keep coming from the customer. So and how the team internally will manage and work together. So all those things will be taken care of from the Scrum practices. So you can have the product owner, you can have that Scrum master, you can have the team, you can have the different type of meetings which is required like daily stand-up, review meeting, retrospective, and so on. So those are more on the management perspective. Now coming to that another agile method which is extreme programming, and there you will get the continuous integration practice, you will get the peer programming practices, you will get the test-driven development practices. So all those things you will find that those are more related to the how you are going to build that application or do the testing. So those things are on the engineering practices side. So that way there are different scenarios where you will go for those, and you can mix and match. So normally if you look at if you ask me, I have not seen a single team where they are only following Scrum, they are not following Scrum XP practices, or XP where they are not following any Scrum practices. So they are they are using a combination of that. Okay, so that's all from my side. I would like to thank you all of you, and as due to time constraint, I have not covered some of the things related to this. You can go for that further study on the agile methods, maybe the Scrum guide. You can just download and you can read about that. There are lots of things which we need to consider, like there are lots of challenges which I have listed down here. We have to change our mindset when we are going for the agile adoption. From my perspective, agile methods are nothing but common sense. So if you will go in the deep side, you will find that okay, it's just a common sense and nothing more than that. So let's apply our common sense in our IT project also and make it as more successful. Thanks to everyone.
And I'm really thankful to our guest speaker today for conducting this wonderful webinar. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of the webinar will be available on techgig.com by tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Vinay, for taking the time out. Have a great evening ahead.
Yeah. Thank you.